Appreciate the opportunity for good discussion today. I think that there is one certain point of consensus. Every person on this panel is a supporter of LWCF. I think it's probably fair to say that those of us here, not only in the committee but in the Congress, are supporters. It has been mentioned that literally from a historical perspective and opportunities for conservation, we have seen more from this program over its past 50 years than we have with many other things that we would see here in Congress. So I think that support was demonstrated in the very strong vote that we had with our lands package earlier this year with the permanent authorization. So now it really comes down to, okay, we love it, how do we pay for it? And Ms. Combs and Mr. French, both of you have mentioned the Public Lands Infrastructure Fund as a way to address the maintenance backlog issues, but the discussion that we've had and where there is seeming divide on the issue of LWCF is whether or not we provide full and mandatory funding for the program. So the very direct question to the two of you is whether or not the administration supports full funding for full and mandatory funding for LWCF. Ms. Combs.
Well, let me just say that the President obviously supports the LWCF. He signed it into law, I believe, the permanent authorization on March.
And yet it's my understanding that within the appropriations, we don't have anything in LWCF account.
Yes, I understand that. And so let me sort of try to parse this a little bit. I heard something interesting from Mr. Yablonsky. He talked about quality and quantity of the outdoor experience, and I talked a little bit about sort of our obligation. I think the LWCF does an absolutely fantastic job, and I heard and I believe everything that Colin and Lauren said. I think it's important. It's that we are in a slightly different position, Madam Chairman, is that we are the land stewards of the stuff that we already own. And so what I would say is that my obligation here at the Department of the Interior is to be sure that the Yellowstone experience or wherever is safe and is correct, and we take care of the lands that we already have. I think this is an extraordinarily important time in y'all's collective deliberation to decide what do you want to do. I would make one comment about the PLIF. When we have a $16 billion backlog, that focuses my attention a great deal on that. And so the PLIF, I would view that as in some sense kind of I heard this word used yesterday, kind of a transformative event. In 5 years, we would have about $6.5 billion to really make an extraordinary change. So,
but let me ask, because my question is very, very specific. You're talking about the Public Lands Infrastructure Fund, and I think that there's good merit for that. We've got a bill out there to address just that. But the ranking member here has a bill. I'm sure he will ask the same question as to whether or not the administration would support full and mandatory funding, separate and aside from what we may do with the Public Lands Infrastructure Fund.
Well, obviously, we are dealing with the President's budget and the guidance from OMB, and so the budget that we have presented for 2020 represents those priorities. As I said, the administration very much supports the LWCF, but also has a very high priority on the deferred maintenance. So that is the challenge that we at Interior are faced with.
So let me quickly ask, Mr. Yablonsky, you have raised it about addressing the LWCF statute to explicitly include maintenance as a federal purpose. So to those of you quickly, do you think that we need to amend the statute itself to specifically include maintenance as a federal purpose for use of LWCF? And my time is just about out, so very quickly going down the row. Yes, no?
I think it's up to Congress to decide.
Mr. French?
Yeah, the administration has not taken a position on this. I would say from Sorla's perspective, no.
I said no, do it through Restore Our Parks Act instead of adding it to this, to LWCF.
I would say these decisions involve trade-offs, and so the more flexibility, the better, so I'd say yes.
Okay, all right. Senator Manchin.